As-Sabiqun wa rahmatullah. Allah.
La ilaha illallah.
La ilaha illallah. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. Ahmaduhu wa asta'inuhu wa astadihi wa astaghfiruhu wa umminu bihi jalla wa ala wa la akfuruhu. وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله أرسله بالهدى ودين الحق ليظهره على الدين كله ولو كره المشركون. All praise belongs to Allah. We praise Him. We seek His help, His assistance, and His guidance. We believe in Him and do not disbelieve in Him. I bear witness that there is no God but Allah, and Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is His servant and messenger. Allah sent him, that is Muhammad, with Deen al-Haq, the religion, the way, the methodology of truth. And this way of life known as Islam will rise to its proper position in this world, whether the mushriks like it or not. أما بعد فإن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله وأوثق الأمور كلمة التقوى وخير الملل ملة إبراهيم وخير السنن سنة محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وأشرف الحديث ذكر الله وأحسن القصص هذا القرآن وخير الأمور أوزموها وشر الأمور محدثاتها وأحسن الهدي هدي الأنبياء وأشرف الموت قتل الشهداء وأشرف الموت قتل الشهداء وأشرف الموت قتل الشهداء وأما لما دلالة بعد الهدى وخير الأعمال ما نفع وخير الهادي ما أتباع وشر الأمة أما الكلب. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam has said the most truthful of discourses is Kitabullah, or the Book of Allah. The most trustworthy word is taqwa, or fear of Allah. The best of the community is the community of Prophet Ibrahim. The best way of life is the sunnah of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. The remembrance of Allah is the most glorious of all things. The best of all narrations is Quran. The best acts are those requiring the highest degree of will and determination. The worst acts are those based on innovation. The most glorious death is the death of the martyr. The most glorious death is the death of the martyr. The most glorious death is the death of the martyr. The best way of life is the one adopted by the prophets of Allah. The most wretched blindness consists of going astray after finding the right way. The best acts are the ones that yield benefits. The best guidance is that which people may be able to follow. The worst blindness is the blindness of the heart. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. إن الله يحمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون. Allah commands justice, the doing of good, and liberality to kith and kin. He forbids all shameful deeds and injustice and rebellion. He instructs you that you may receive admonition. فَمَنْ يُرِيدِ اللَّهُ أَنْ يَهْدِيَهُ يَشْرَحْ صَدْرَهُ لِلْإِسْلَامِ. Those whom Allah in His plan willeth to guide, He opens the sadr, or the heart, or the breast, or the chest cavity to Islam. يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا اتَّقُوا اللَّهَ حَقَّ تُقَاتِهِ وَلَا تَمُوتُنَّ إِلَّا وَأَنْتُمْ مُسْلِمُونَ. O you believe, fear Allah as He should be feared, and do not die except in a state of Islam or submission to the will of Allah. وَاعْتَصِمُوا بِحَبْلِ اللَّهِ جَمِيعًا وَلَا تَفَرَّقُوا. And hold fast altogether, jami'an, to the rope, which is Islam, which Allah stretches out to you, and have no separation and division amongst yourselves. Kuntum khayra ummatin ukhrijat lil nasi ta'muruna bil ma'rufi wa tanhauna 'anil munkar wa tu'minuna billah. You are the best peoples ever raised up for mankind, enjoining what is right, forbidding what is wrong, and believing in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Aqulu qawli hadha wa astaghfirullah li wa lakum. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala khairul mursaleen. Muhammadin an-Nabi al-Ummi. Wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Amma ba'di yaqulu Allahu ta'ala fil Quran al-Kareem. Inna Allaha wa malaikatuhu yusalluna ala nabi. Ya ayyuha alladhina amanu. Sallu alayhi wa sallimu tasliman. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Mulana Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And soon you will recall what I say to you, and I entrust my affair to Allah. Verily Allah is all-seeing to His servants. This is an ayat that deals with entrusting Allah. It deals with ufawidu, or tafweed. And we talk about this many times. Tafweed is to entrust your affairs to Allah. And rida, like we say, radiyallahu anhu, and after we mention a companion, rida means pleased or well pleased, so that we entrust our affairs to Allah, then we're pleased and happy and satisfied and content with what Allah give us. So just to have a little fun or reminders, we made dua in front of everybody. Oh Allah, make a fool of the United States government, right? We didn't say burn it up or set it on fire, right? We didn't say that. We said, oh Allah, make a clown out of them. That means make the leadership, not the people, not you and I, not our relatives and not our friends, They're victims of America. They're victims of America because every time they try to do something, they flip the script on them, right? They have the 1619 project. That's when we came here, 1619. And then they got another one, O'Don, talking about the 1776 project. You know, when they, just before pre-Constitution, but the Declaration of Independence. Now, we read last week, I'm sure, or during one of our programs, that there was a section in there that they never put in the Declaration of Independence because it talked about slavery, right? And that this Christian king, right, is oppressing and people and bringing them over here, and they never did nothing to him, right? And then they said, now this king is trying to make the people rise up, me and you, against him, them, Thomas Jefferson and all of them. And they wanted to put that in the Declaration of Independence, but there were several people here, New England and also, of course, Carolina down there, they was benefiting from slavery. So in order to fight the Revolutionary War and do what they wanted to do, under the Articles of Confederation, they couldn't put that in. That's 1776. They did not put it in there. And then they always brag about what? The 13th Amendment. Great Abraham Lincoln fought so hard for us to get to. And it says, there's no more slavery in the United States. From this day on, that's it. Except for people who are convicted of a crime. Now, where do you find modern-day slave catchers and dragnets? In every neighborhood in the United States is our neighborhood, right? A dragnet, and they throw it out, and they question everybody, and they take your name. Pretty soon, right, you're going to have a record. And when you have a record, you're going to go down there and get arrested for sneezing too loud. And they're going to say, well, we're going to give you a probation, right? Then they give you probation, then you broke somebody's window. It don't make no difference what it was. No, since you're on probation, you're on paper, you got to go to jail. And in jail, you're convicted of a crime. So if they working you to death enslaving you in these jails, making license plates and everything. Well, I was in forestry camp in California. You know where they have all these forest fires? Not just forestry camp. But it wasn't really slavery because they paid us to fight forest fires. They paid us 50 cents a day. So that's not slavery, tell the truth. 50 cents a day in the 1960s, that's not slavery. We could, after a whole month of fighting forest fires and cutting down trees, we could go to the commissary and buy $5 or $10 worth of cookies and stuff. So technically it's not slavery, but it sure looks very close to it. It looks as close to slavery as you can get without putting chains on people, right? So all of that stuff, that flowery discourse that they talk about, they had it set up from the very beginning. And then when you speak out about it, Black Lives Matter and all of that, they say all of a sudden, Black Lives Matter, it's a good thing. Black lives do matter. And you standing up because you don't want to be shot by the police. You just don't want to be shot. And if you look at it, all of our people, the mothers, the family, they all are saying the same thing. We don't want you to take advantage of our situation, of our family, of our grief and our death, and to burn and destroy things, right? So therefore, we have seen the mothers on TV praying for the people, praying for the police, and praying for everybody, right? But then they change the narrative. They say all those people running around, right? Antifa, whoever they are, they're burning, they're destroying, so they link us all together. Those people that are burning and destroying are their people. Now, we didn't tell them that on this thing right here. We didn't tell them. No, those are your people. Right? Because, see, you look at all around the country, in the early demonstrations when we're there, it's peaceful and calm. Then when nighttime come, here come their crew. And on the TV, they saying we want law and order. And they making it so it's illegal almost for you to stand up. They're trying to steal the sympathy of the people and make us lawless. And the police, what? They're just like slave catchers. You don't send slave catchers to the penitentiary. You give them a reward. So if you shoot a Negro, hey, you get a month off, 2-week vacation, right? Hey, so even if you're a common Caucasian male with just a little dislike for Negroes, and you say, man, I get me a 30-day vacation, all paid. I can take my kids to anywhere I want to, right? All I have to do is shoot a Negro. That don't sound bad, right? You got to imagine now. Now, most people don't believe that there's people that go to work every day and they desire to shoot somebody, especially black. They want to. They want to kill somebody, right? And they want you to fight back. Once they blow the whistle and all the crew get there, what? They kicking your feet, spread your feet. Your feet's already spread. They kick them wider so you'll fall down or you'll get mad. Or they grab you, and you grab, what are you doing grabbing somebody? You know what I mean? So they're trying to intimidate you, and they're trying to make you have a reflex where you, bam, they grab you and you turn and fire, and then they just beat you to death or shoot you, whatever they want. So they've designed the system here, right? They have a system that to them is working fine. And so when it says, and soon you will call what I say to you, and I entrust my affair to Allah. We, the people of Fawidu, or Tafweed, we trust our affairs to Allah. The system and all the other circumstances in this world are a little too big for us to handle, as it was in history. And when that was the occasion with the oppressed, Allah always, they said, there's no separation between the dua of the oppressed and Allah. In other words, it goes straight to Allah. So you have to be careful. But they don't understand that. So when we make dua to Allah, to make a clown, to make a fool out of the system, to make them the laughing stock of the world, and they do it, or Allah do it for you, then you are rida, right? You're well pleased. You're thankful and you're grateful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Then there's other ayats that says, but the evil of their deeds overtook them, and they, the very wrath at which they scoffed at, hemmed them in. وَحَكَّ بِهِمْ مَا كَانُوا بِهِ يَسْتَهْزِئُونَ. Hemmed them in and circled them. So the very thing that they're making fun of, right, that they're scoffing at, is going to surround them, is going to trap them. Now, if y'all been coming to our programs during the week, boy, you would be in suspended animation about how accurate we've been about this stuff. The other night, one of the brothers came in and they said, man, this whole thing's looked like a wrestling match. You know how they make stuff up. And we went right home, and that was Don and the vice president. And it was the most scandalous, most ridiculous program that you've ever seen in your life. And it was like a wrestling match. You know, when I was a kid, they said, well, now, if you see the guys, they get up on the ring and they fly all the way over and jump on the guy. That's not real wrestling. Real wrestling, you grabbing each other, right, and you twisting each other. But you don't take no chair, fold it up gently, and then hit nobody over the back with it. Or you fly out of the ring on a table like that, and the table collapses, and there's a soft pad under there. You know, but you say, man, and then the human being. Imagine if you get way up on the ring, the top of the ring, and you weigh 300-400 pounds, and you dive down on somebody. Man, you'll break them up, and you'll break yourself up unless you train to do it. So wrestling is hilarious. Now, y'all too young to remember Gorgeous George, Haystack Calhoun, and all them guys. Hey, man, that was funny. Ray Stevens, the pencil necks, you know, this is all in the 60s, of course, and late 50s. But now, these wrestlers now are much more professional than old time. I mean, they really just tag team to death, and they have fun. It don't have nothing to do with wrestling. And the same thing with these programs we watch. So we sat there and we watched. All the people in the world was watching two men running for president of the United States. And the only thing they didn't have, like what the Three Stooges had, was mud pie, pies, right? It was ridiculous. But that's the way Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala brings down the stature of America. You can't do that to America. America has to do it itself, right? America has to humiliate itself. And so that's what it means is the things that they were making fun of. They say, oh, Biden, this boy, he got, every time I see him, he got a mask on. He got a big old mask this big. And 2 days later, he got coronavirus, his wife got coronavirus, and the tender. You can see where it come from. Oh, Miss Hicks, Hope Hicks, got it. Then Don got it. Then his wife got it. Now, you know how Americans think. They look at Miss Hicks and they said, it's a nice little green-eyed lady, you know what I mean? And Don, she's with Don all the time, and she's always advising Don. And you know what advice Don wants, right? She get the virus, then he get it. And then his wife get it. They all locked up now, right? Now, what is Americans thinking about all of that? They think they can look, they got eyes, they can see. Who was Don's hero? Don's hero in life was, what's the man used to have the Playboy, Hugh Hefner, right? Remember that? That's who Don's hero in life. The man that was 90 years old and sitting there with a night coat on and, you know, and stuff and Playboy bunnies. He's almost 100 years old. This is ridiculous. And that's the way Don want to be. When he get old, he want to be like that. That's his hero, right? Okay, so it don't take much addition and subtraction, mathematics and what have you to know that if the little green-eyed lady, tender, you know, Don don't like people when they start getting old. What happened? His old wife was fine. Veronica or Veronica, whoever she was, they said, you got to go. Then he got the other little Marva Maples, right? Little tender, showgirl. He got rid of her. Now he got this lady now, but she's 50 years old. Now, for anybody else, that's a nice age. But not Don. And Hope must be in her 30s about now, right? Green-eyed, you know. And there she is. Oh, she's with Don all the time. What advice she giving Don? You think about it. What does she know anyway to give him advice about? And he's 74 years old. So it's just what everybody see. So now, Don was saying, we don't want, he got a whole militia, a whole organization. I don't want nobody wearing no mask around me. And plus, you know, if you do get sick, don't you worry, because the cure is right around the corner, right? He done said that 100 times. And if you get a little bit of the stuff, just get yourself a little bleach, take a shot of bleach and stuff like that. You know, and the white lady used to wear the scarf. She was sitting there and her legs was turning like this. And you know, sometimes when ladies are embarrassed, they, you know, they point, you know, just as body language. And I said, boy, he is embarrassing that lady, because he leaned over and said, now, wouldn't a little radiation and a little bit of bleach, it might do good, huh? And she didn't say that. She just sitting there. Poor thing. Hey, man, somebody sent Don a tweet today, and they said, we hope you don't take your own advice and take no bleach to kill you. You know, they both locked up in the White House. That means the same thing they've been making fun of, they're going to be hemmed in by that. That's what this means. Wahakka bihim ma kanu bihi yastazi'un. And they will be hemmed in or encircled, yastazi'una, right? Or surrounded by the same things they was making fun of. Oh, Joe over there got a mask this big, ha, ha, ha. And, you know, he don't keep no record, because in Oklahoma, he got a Negro that died a little while ago. He went to the program in Oklahoma. And the Negro up and died. The same one ran for president. Y'all probably remember his name. Y'all remember the guy? He ran for president, and he upped and died because he went to see Don. Because he was an older Negro, he ought to be able to have some sense that the older you are, the blacker you are, darker you are, the better chance you got. All the other folks are there, white folks, they got a slim chance of dying. So the Negro go, I'm with you, Don, and he died. And now, Miss Hope, old Don, and his wife, they're all sitting up in the White House right now. I'm telling you. Hemmed in by the same thing. How many times he tell you, well, I knew that it'd go by air, and I knew that you can touch something. And this is, of course, in early March, I just didn't want to tell nobody because I didn't want them to panic. And then it's the not the Kung Fu, it's the Kung Fu virus, right? The Kung Fu virus. Now, China, 1,400,000,000 people. Go see how many people died in China. I don't know. You hear somebody came into China and 2 people died. 2 people. Read that. I don't know. Y'all can look on your phone and see the death rate in China with all them people. Right? We running, it won't be tomorrow. It'll be 210,000 people dead here in America. And that's what they say. Now, you know they're not counting everybody. You know, they're not counting everybody. I'm sure they're not counting everybody. But they're being hemmed in by the same thing that they made fun of. And the stature of America the Great. The world is looking at America and saying, man, what's happening with y'all over there? What's happening? Y'all got 4 or 5% of the world's population, and you got 22% of the people dying in the world. Ain't nobody, even India and everybody, you know, can't keep up with you. They be hemmed in by the things that they mocked at. This happened in history. This happened with the prophets, and that's why the Quran said, travel in the earth and see what was the end of those before you, travel in the earth that you seek knowledge. So now me and you, here we are, we're engaged in this tawakkul or tafweed, trust in Allah, right? We delegate our affairs to Allah, and when Allah gives us what we ask for, then we're thankful for that. You know, there's some sayings that, see, a lot of people look at us and they make certain decisions. And they say, man, I wouldn't want to be dealing with all that stuff. Man, the FBI is over there, the Negroes is over there, everybody, you know. They either over there or they done left. Right? That's the way it is here. It's here like that here. It's like that in Oakland. So people, they look at us, they say, I wouldn't want to do that. One of the New York imams was raising money for manna over at Dar al-Hijra several years ago. We was all there. And he said, we have a different approach than Imam Musa. He's telling the people over there, so they give him money. And he raised $36,000 just after prayer. That's not bad. After prayer, 36 grand, that's a nice, you know. But he had to tell them, we have a different approach. Now, I like the guy because I listened to him. I heard 2 or 3 of his lectures just the other day. And he was speaking at ICNA. Yeah, he was speaking at ICNA, Islamic Circle of North America. And he's gray-bearded now, and he's getting old, and he had a short time at the end of the program. He used to have a big time at the end of the program. He used to dominate all the programs. He raised all these big mosques, you see, that they have. He had fundraisers. I mean, they had fundraisers. They invited him, and he helped them build their whole infrastructure all over the United States since 1983. Because in 1982, they offered that to me. I told them, I ain't into that. And they went and got him. So he, you know, he accepted the work that I wouldn't accept. I said, no, because they wanted us to push one group of people and hide another. I said, I'm not going to do that. I came to Islam to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, not to worship you. He asked me again over in, it was either in Utah or it was over in Iowa, Cedar Rapids. It was Cedar Rapids, Iowa, right in the winter. Well, we love you, but now, you know, I got top billing in those days. 82 and 83, 81, top billing. Imam Musa here today, lights going off. And when I said, no, I'm not going to do that. All of a sudden, no lights, no fanfare, no Imam Musa. And they got homeboy, flashing lights going off at every show, right? And if those people were to look at us, they would say, they do say, we wouldn't want to live the life that they live. Man, that's tough. Every time they do something, they come. Every time they tie a rope, the feds come by and untie it. Every time they try to help a Negro, the Negro slice at their hand. They got to pull it back so they at least keep the thing, right? Every time, all the time. So people would look at that and they say, hey, man, that's hard. But you know, some people say about life, if you do the things that are easy, life is hard. And you can hear people always crying, oh, life is so hard, it's so tough, it's so mean. But there's another saying, if you do the things that's hard, life is easy. That's why we stand here laughing all the time. Because we chose systematically. Life did not choose our struggle. We chose our own struggle. So it's easy, right? It's fun. It's like the coach tell you, you did all your training and everything, and he said, well, boys, go on out there and have fun. Just have fun. You already got all the fundamentals. I done trained you and work you till you sweat coming off of you. So now, in this game, go on out and have fun. And when you have fun, what do? You play better. You stretch more, right? The children out there having fun in the snow, their hands is blue and everything, right? And they sliding down the thing. They having fun. Me and you ain't going to do that. Why? We done already, hey, man, we too old. That ain't no fun out there freezing to death. They freezing, chattering teeth, but they having fun, right? So if you have fun in what you're doing, it's easy. No matter how hard it looks to everybody else, it's easy. So if you live a life where you do the things that are easy, life is hard. Your business is hard. Your education, everything is hard. But if you choose the things and you do the things that are hard, then life is easy. So there befell them the evils of what they and there encircled them, that which they used to scoff at. This is going backwards and forth, but it means the same thing. The things that they were making fun of encircled them, right? And caught them out of pocket. This is what's happening to the United States of America. And it's happening to all of the people who are on their team. And this team, I'm not going to go into all the details, but some of the stuff you see is like a wrestling match. And it's not the Russians doing it. It's not the Iranians. It's the Zionist state of Israel. What are they doing? Let's make it real simple. They're making America weak. That's why they hired Don to break the back of America, to make America weak. And if you're weak, you can be manipulated by other people, right? Easier. And you had to have a weakness. What is your weakness? You're flat broke. Everybody think you're rich. What the income tax people come out last week, they said Don owes somebody $300 million, $400 million, probably $300 billion, right? He don't have no money. He broke. The little program he had on TV rescued him. That's what the other white folks say. Saved that boy. Tell him, you're fired. Right? He ought to fire himself. Talk running around. And the program saved his life because some of them know it. They know he's a dummy. He don't know nothing about businesses at all, right? He got two big old joints up in Jersey, right? Out there, the big gambling joints, right? Cobwebs. You know how places, when they run down, water coming all in, destroyed. Because Don don't know what he's doing. All those buildings around the world, they call them Trump Towers. He get paid something for that. He don't own them buildings, right? But they give him a little bit on the side to use his name because his name used to be big. When Don leave this White House, he ain't going to be big. They're going to take Trump off of there because Trump, what we ask Allah to do, Trump is a fool, a buffoon, and a clown, and everybody know it. Why? He acts like a clown, he carries himself like a clown, and he may not live. 74 years old, almost old as me. So that means he might not be here. You don't know. Or even if they plan, even if he's just trying to get around having another argument on the stage with, maybe you don't know what they're doing. But whatever they're doing, it's going to lead to their downfall. Right? Everything they do, because see, at a certain time, when Allah got you going up, everything be going your way. It don't make no difference what you do. But when Allah got you going down, down you go. You cannot stop it. It is the inertia. It is the power of history, and the religious possibilities open up. All of the things mean you're going downhill. In everything you do, Pharaoh, you know, y'all too young to remember, go down Moses, way down in Egypt land, tell old Pharaoh, let my people go. Y'all don't remember that, do you? That's way back. I remember it very well. That's why I chose the name Musa, Moses. That's the way I thought about the people. You know, you're going to be something, so might as well take a name that reflects life. So Moses got his people together, and all they did was argue with him all the time. Moses, when they get across the Red Sea, Moses, you got us over here, and we had it better at the flesh pots, that's what the Bible said, of Pharaoh. Moses got him across the sea, and Pharaoh done drowned it. Now, remember, Pharaoh ain't told his crew, how are we going after these Israelis? Here's what we're going to do. We might run into some water and stuff on the way, so don't wear all of that armor, right? Because it'll drag you down if something happened, right? He didn't tell them nothing like that. He made sure they had the heaviest stuff, the heaviest chariots, and the heaviest everything, right? So when the water got to them, they automatically had to drown. In other words, he added to their decline, right? He helped them. He insisted that they drown, right? This is the way old Don is with America. The world, you ought to see them. They're looking at America. And that's why if somebody try to do something to America, we'll say, stop, get your hands off that bomb. What's wrong with you? You crazy. You know why? Because they'll help America, right? Leave it alone. During the discussion the other night, they were saying, he don't let nobody talk. He don't. I said, leave Don alone. Let that boy go. And what did he do? He brought the whole thing down, isn't that right? In front of everybody. It's like Goofy and Donald Duck and them people, right? Hey, man, it's unbelievable. I'm telling you, the only thing they didn't have on the stage was pies, you know, to throw in each other's face. Tell the truth. That's the only thing they didn't have. If they would have had any pies near them, they would have been gone like Three Stooges and who else, all them Laurel and Hardy and them back in the old days. You know, them old pie fights. Hey, man, it was wonderful. You couldn't do that. They won't give you the time. They won't give you the situation to do it. And mocked indeed were the messengers before you, but there encircled those who jeered at them that which they were mocking at. Again, the same thing that they are making fun of is the thing that encircle them and bring them down. This is not something that's new here. This is in your Quran. It's in your Hadith. It's in history, right? The same thing that Hitler made fun of, those slow, dumb Russians, is who slipped up on him and he invaded Russia, right? To get Lebensraum, living space, all that land. Boy, he invaded Russia and he was just rolling. They killed 27 million Russians. But when they tell you the Americans liberated Europe and D-Day and all that, Operation Overlord, that's a lie. It was Stalingrad, it was the Russians, right, that he made light of, that ran him all the way back to Berlin and destroyed the Third Reich. The same thing that people make fun of. And right now, here in America, who they make fun of? The Negro. Every time we do something, we have marches all over the country and everybody is sympathetic with us. And then 2 days later, they got some Negro ball player somewhere say something, this was a few months ago, and all of a sudden, we're apologizing to Zionists. Why? What do we have to do with what they say? Oh, and Antifa, I like the Proud Boys, right? Then they got y'all hip to the Boogaloo Boys. Y'all ain't here. They look in your phone right now, Boogaloo Boy. I said, the Boogaloo Boys. I said, my goodness. Now in class, we look up all that. It's true. Where do you get that name, the Boogaloo Boys, from? And they supposed to be tough white boys. Oh, yes, they tough white boys. Those are Zionist, American invented people. Why? They invent people to give a picture that they want to give. The white men down here in Charlottesville carrying them torches, reminiscent of Kristallnacht, 1938, the burnings of the book in Germany, and destroying so-called the Jewish people, right? Carrying them torches. Jews will not replace us. But when the same man had a rally downtown, there was 3 or 4 people there. Why? Because all the other real radicals know that sucker's the police. You know, leaderless resistance, they say it's impossible, right? For them to be walking around talking about, just like we have Negro organizations that infiltrate us and steal the show, right? And you think those are the freedom fighters. They're not freedom fighters. They invented by the white man, right? And me and you, why, you don't see that we say on TV. And guess what? We're right all the time. I'm not saying that out of arrogance. We're right so much that you can't keep count of it all the time. Well, why ain't we? Because they're not playing that. You see what I mean? Anyway, we'll move toward a close. They will be encircled by the same things that they made fun of. That's why our guidelines are Quran, Sunnah, history, and our experience. Our experience right here, right? Not their experience in India and Pakistan and Arabia, our experience right here. That's why we're accurate on our, when we discuss things, very accurate, because we're paying attention to here, because here relates to over there. And we told them all, hey, Ikhwan, oh, they come over here, they want to talk to Mr. Obama. Oh, Ikhwan, we just good old Muslims. We don't want to do nobody no harm. If you just either leave us alone or back them. And we told them, hey, man, boss man, we looked up what happened in Egypt. Thousands of Ikhwanis killed, slaughtered right in the street, right? Yeah, a few years ago. Tahrir Square, Ikhwan, they let them take over. Then they got a president that was Ikhwan. Morsi, remember? We said, don't take that power, man. Don't take power. Because number one, if America don't help you, you can't solve the problem. If the Zionists work against you, you can't solve the problem, right? So that's if somebody came to us and say, we're handing over the solution to America's problem to you. I say, hey, I didn't start it, and I ain't even thinking about, you can't put it on, because what they going to do? They're going to say, like all the mayors of all the black cities for the last 40 years, They give them the cities when? After the tax revenue is gone, after all the white folks is gone. Now they're getting ready. You have D.C. statehood here, just like you can shoot weapons here in D.C. now. When white folks get back, tell the truth, when white folks get here big time, you'll have all the guns and you'll be the 51st state. But not with the Negro here. Yeah, it's still too many, but just wait a little while. The Euros, we love everybody. They're running up and down the street right now. This is Southeast D.C. You be wanting to stop. Why are you here? Did you lose something? And walking their dogs, right up and down just like they are. Anyway, you never see Europeans look like or think they out of place. They think they out of place, but they don't act like it. Right? They walk right down the street, all them Negroes hanging on the corner, they never touch them. But if we was walking down the street in the white neighborhood and all them white boys hanging out with tattoos and looking crazy, we'd say, I'm going to go up that street and around them folks. Them people that's going to the school down there or going up the hill where they live or up here or around the corner, they just stroll right through them Negroes. And you know what they say? Nothing. They even thought about, just a minute, what y'all doing here? They don't say none of that. And the white folks don't act like that because they taught. Just feel like you belong there. They call them urban pioneers. That's what they are, urban pioneers. They done urban pioneered Compton, D.C., and everywhere else. Okay. So the people made fun of things. They make fun of me and you, right? Whatever we do, whatever group we start, they make a joke out of it. They make a joke out of it, but what they don't know is the pattern. Allah have a pattern, a historical pattern, a religious pattern, and a standard pattern of life, right? That the people that made fun of things around them and before them, and especially of people, when they looked up, them people had them surrounded. That's America for us. Not surround for bad, but for good. We got a good part to play here. We got a big part to play here. But like you say, if you don't know what your part is, you'll cruise along. If you never challenge boss man, you would think he meant to be there, right? And then you would think, well, he don't bleed because he's a boss man. Boss man bleeds. Boss man, you get him in a pinch, and he start all them old serious prison guards always. When they have a riot and they take over that prison, they got them guards in there. First thing they do, you see the tears coming down. I have a wife and children, so all these other niggas they had. Y'all was beating on, right? Those guards, those people, you would think that they was little children or something, right? Because now they are in the place that they had me and you. And it don't feel good. That's when you learn your strength. That's when you learn what is your mission. What's your goal? What's life all about? What picture do you have of success, of life? And we talk about it all the time. Life is like a thermostat, a self-image, the picture you have of yourself, just like that thermostat. You set it on a certain degree. If it's set on 70 degrees, if it gets 68, something going to come on. If it gets 72, something going to come on, and keep it at your comfort zone. In life, your self-image determines how high you're going to go, how far you're going to go, how fast you're going to go. And if you want to study the people, study the ones, not the slow pokes, but the ones that run the fastest, right? The one that lift the most iron, the one that do the bigger things. Study them, right? Don't study the so-called failures of people that's not paying attention. Allah done gave us this, and Allah putting it right in front of everybody. For everybody to see. We have the history. We have the ability. But we have to stand up for it. What boss man do to you, what boss man do to me, boss man did to everybody. He do to everybody. In closing, y'all, anybody watch the what do they call them, the suffragettes, the people walking, the women, all the white women, of course, few Negroes too, that wanted the right to vote, which they gave women the right to vote in 1920. Now you got to remember, talking about freedom, in America, when they first started this thing off, you had to be white and have money, property, to vote. Then after a while, well, all the men can vote. But half of humanity couldn't vote. And then we talk about how boss man do us. They had them white women over to DC jail. They had them over St. Elizabeth, the crazy house right over there. They was beating them white. They did everything to them they do to us. Why? Because they wanted change. That's all. And then when the Negro women say, well, we want a piece of it too, the white folks then offered them, if you leave the Negro women out, right, then we'll give you, a piece of the action. Everybody gonna leave the Negro out. They say he don't need, she don't need, they don't need nothing, right? You got to get it yourself. You got to. It's not you make people stand up and respect you, but in a way it is. That's what we did with every group here, all these big groups that got all of these thousands of people that go to their programs, thousands. Sometimes 50,000 people or more at a convention. And you don't hear nothing about what's going on in America, right? Nothing. And our speakers, other Negro speakers that are in our age range that should know this. If they don't know what we're talking about, then they should not be imams. They should go sit down because they've been in America long enough to know Americans' behavior, know Americans' history, and to teach that to the immigrant community who just got here last week and they don't even want to hear about what's going on in America. But you got to tell them. Why you have to tell them? Because Islam, hey man, Islam, you look at history. Genghis Khan invaded the Muslims and wore their behind out. He whooped the Muslims, yes he did. But he didn't take gold and silver back to Mongolia. You know what he took? Islam. The Mongols conquered the Muslims, right? That's how in Pakistan, Afghanistan, so-and-so Khan. Where'd that come from? Genghis Khan, Kublai Khan, right? All that, that's why, yeah, they took Islam back to Mongolia. That's how powerful Islam is. They conquered the Muslims, but Islam conquered them, civilized them, educated them, trained them, and made them real human beings. We can do the same thing in America. There's nothing wrong with the people of America except they don't know what's going on. That's all. Tell the truth. Our relatives, our friends, all them innocent white folks just walking down the street, remember Black Lives Matter? They didn't even know, the white folks didn't even know that they whooped niggas upside the head every time they get it. They didn't even know. You could hear them asking, do they really? I heard it with my own ears right up there at Malcolm X Park when they was in Ferguson. That was several years ago. The white kids came out, they was high school age and a little older, and they was packed the park. They just wanted to support the people, us. Do they really do that to you? The police don't stop them and beat them upside the head, right? And take them to jail. If they do anything, the police might take them home to their mama and say that the kid's been bad today, right? But they're not going to write their names down because they get a record. A record, they write your name down, right? Here's what we're trying to say. And we'll close with this. We talked last week about ilm and amal. Ilm is knowledge, and amal is the work or action that emerged out of the knowledge. Remember, one knowledgeable man is harder on the shaitan than 1,000 worshipers, right? One knowledgeable man. But it says the knowledge, the evil of the knowledgeable person is way more detrimental, right, than the evil of an ignorant person, because of the person with knowledge know exactly where to strike the blow against truth, justice, and freedom, right? And the hadith also says that the birds of the air, the fish in the deep blue sea, will pay homage to the man of knowledge, the woman of knowledge. So what do you think? The oceans is full of plastic, right? What do you think the fish is saying down there? Man, I wish the guy up there would straighten up, right? And when the water starts cleaning up, he's going to be happy. The fish going to be making dua for him. The birds of the air, somebody said it's 33% less fowl of the air than it was just a few years ago. Remember, you go over in the park, it used to be squirrels running everywhere. Now it's one or two, but it ain't a whole lot. Not like it used to be. You used to see squirrels all up and down everywhere, right? Everywhere. It's less of them. Those people, we're leaving our life in their hands, the life of our children, our wives, our family, and everybody in their hands. Ilm is to know where the traps are, where the landmines are, right? How to navigate in this world that is very dangerous, right? Full of traps and snares and what have you. You have to have knowledge of where the ambushes are, where the shaitan is waiting to finish you, your family, your children off, right? And if we don't know, we can't teach them. And they'll get snatched up by a boss man. So, dear believers, we ask you to use the experience that you have and believe in your Islam till you want to implement it. Not just something that you do running in here on Friday and every now and then a little daily prayer. Implement it a lot. What more convincing do we need that Allah trying to be gracious to us and to show Pharaoh, Haman, and all of them people after the oppression that we have suffered. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala want to give us aima. That's imanship, leadership. Aima, leadership, right? And he wants to finish off his not his homeboys. He wants to finish off those people, but have you do it. O Allah, we seek thy refuge from anxiety and grief. Seek thy refuge from lack of strength and laziness. We seek thy refuge from cowardice and niggardliness. We seek thy refuge from being overpowered by debt and the oppression of men. O Allah, suffice us what is lawful. Keep from us what is prohibited. With thy grace make us free from want of what is beside it. Ameen. Iqamat as-salat.